Hello, welcome to the episode number 91 of the At U2 podcast, where we talk all things U2, album news, tour dates, and everything else that we can think of that came up in the past year, 2018, the year of our Lord, 2018. I'm Chris.
Well, we don't do like every show recapping the whole year.
Oh yeah,
We're
we're recapping every single concert that U2 did, every single event that U2 had this past year. So buckle in, folks. It's going to be about a 5 to 6 hour podcast. Matt and I have scheduled potty breaks, so we'll alternate going to the bathroom. And no.
Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I'm sure there's podcasts out there that do that, but no, we're not going to do everything. We're just going to cover highlights. And because it's just you and I, we get to pick what those highlights are. But listeners have sent in suggestions using hashtag AskAtU2 and also on our Facebook, facebook.com/ATU2com, right? I don't have the link in front of me, but...
I think so, yep.
And some thoughts there. And so obviously as you're listening now, it's a little bit too late to send in your thoughts, but actually feel free to send them in using hashtag AskAtU2 on Twitter, or find the post on Facebook if you're so inclined on our page about the episode being released. And we'd love to just continue the discussion further after the fact. That's what social media is for, being social and all that. So like I said, I'm Chris. He is Matt. The other voice that you hear is Matt. Welcome back, Matt.
Hey, Chris. How are you? Happy holidays.
Yeah, I think it's holidays. It feels like the chaos. I'm anxious for the holiday part.
Are you covered in snow up there?
We have snow, the usual amount. So okay. I mean, more than you, I think.
It's crazy because we had our first snowfall about 3 days ago, and then it melted 12 hours later. And today it's like 50 degrees and sunny. And I was looking at the 2-week forecast all the way out through and past Christmas, and it's going to be in the 40s and 50s, which is. We're not usually that warm. We're usually 30s or so.
So that's like above freezing anyways, right?
Above freezing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining because I'm not a cold weather person. So
we're not too much cooler than you, actually. We're about maybe 5-10 degrees Celsius cooler, but just below freezing. Anyways, this is not a weather podcast, as fans of my other podcasts will know.
Oh, okay.
And welcome to the live stream, Document Zero. Thanks for watching. They posted. Thanks for posting on Facebook. You can join live now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We kind of focus on Twitter because it's so handy, but today we actually remembered Facebook. So
yeah, I know it's one that I know there's a huge amount of folks who are on Facebook. Obviously, yes, I keep hearing about it, so we should probably remember to post on there.
Yes, we should.
It is a lot of work to copy and paste a post over to Facebook. No, it's more when you're busy getting everything going, all of a sudden you sort of forget, and then we're going, and then Anyways, we have, actually one thing you've been really busy with is the new At U2 site we should mention. So @u2.com, if you're not familiar with it, it's the website that this podcast originates from, and you have a new redesign?
Yeah, we just launched as we record. This is Thursday afternoon, so I guess it was late Tuesday night. We finally turned all the buttons and flipped all the switches and launched the new website, and it's been, my gosh, Chris, we've been working on it for years and years and years, and it's
almost now that you've launched it, it's almost time for a redesign.
It really is, right? It's so, when something takes that long, like I'm already tired of looking at the site.
I know.
It's like brand new to everybody. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been looking at this for 2 years now. But not quite 2 years. But no, it takes a long time, and frankly, it took a long time, in large part because of our own delays and things that we were wanting to do and all that stuff. But it's also because the band has been so stinking active nonstop for the last 3 years, and working on a new website is hard enough, and even harder when you're needing to keep your regular website updated and tracking everything the band is doing. And so
yeah.
I am sounding all whiny, but anyway, we are just very excited that the new website is finally out there and launched, and there's little things that you kind of overlook. So we're still polishing up some of the shine and fixing some of the things that we find. But it's really cool to have it out there.
And if somebody wants to, what's the best way to sort of send feedback? If like my Android device from 5 years ago doesn't display any sort of posts or something, or whatever the issue might be, what's the best way for folks to send feedback?
On any of the social channels would be fine, but probably the easiest one would be an email to there's a contact page on the site. They can find me or anybody on the site and send an email that way, or just webmaster at u2.com is an
Nice.
email address that gets checked. So anything like that. And yeah, there's if there's something that we did overlook or got lost in all the shuffling, that would be great to hear.
And I know there's been a few issues. If anybody's watched or using the at U2 app on iPhone or Android, right? There was some issues with that updating, or maybe that's been sorted out now.
Yeah, well, because yes, the app will. I mean, I think it's like borderline impossible for the app developers to get too far into what they need to do because the site the dev site was private. It wasn't out there for public for for them the apps to communicate with the private site. So they were kind of hamstrung in what they could do. But now we have everything live, and so the feeds will get all updated. And so Jason and Braden are in the process right now of working their magic on the apps, and those should be up and running. I would expect in the next day or two. But I'm not an app developer, so don't hold me to that.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say.
I just wave a magic
Yeah.
wand, snap your fingers, and the app's updated. No problem.
And while you're so there's an article you can check out, which will be in the show notes if you want a link. But obviously, just go to atu2.com. But also another article or interview that was posted recently that you may have slipped past your radar if you're just listening to the podcast is a part one, I guess, of the interview you did with Willie Williams, set designer and U2 tour
Show
guru.
director,
Yeah,
and yeah, he's got all kinds of titles,
extraordinaire.
and yeah, and fanboys like me emailing him all the time with questions and all this
Yeah.
sort of stuff. So yeah, he we for the past few years, every each tour, he's been gracious enough to do a sort of an email Q&A interview kind of thing. I mean, the first time he did an interview with us, I think it was 2001 or 2002, which was, and it was it was just this epic interview. And I mean, the website was like 5 years old then, or 6 years old or whatever. And it was just like the coolest thing in the world that we actually had this interview with somebody that close to the band. And so, we've kept in touch and all this sort of stuff. And, so we tried to do this interview. I sent, as I do for at the start of each tour, here's my questions, answer whenever you can. And it was just, he was, I guess, too busy during the first leg of the tour, and there was just all sorts of craziness going on, and we just never connected. And we thought, and then he said, well, let's try when the start of the European tour comes around. I'll answer some questions then. And then kind of things fell apart at the beginning of the European tour. I'm sure we'll talk about this when we get to the year in review recap, because what was it? The second show is when Bono lost his voice, and so that just sort of threw everything into this. All their sort of plans went off in a different direction. So we just never connected. And then this email showed up out of the blue about I don't know, a week ago or 10 days ago, and he said, here's what's going on, and here's answers to your question. So part one was just sort of this thing that he wrote on a train from Dublin to Belfast before the first Belfast show, I think it was. And it's just like this stream of consciousness, like he used to do with the tour diaries on u2.com and wherever those got posted. So that was really cool. And then the second part was he went back and answered a bunch of the questions that I had been sending him over the course of the year. So that I hope we'll post early next week if all goes well. So
Nice. Yeah, it's
cool
a good
stuff.
read. Good read and a good. I think, like you said, behind sort of you get a little taste of behind the scenes of what and why and some of the things that we even theorized about. I know on this podcast about
Yeah.
things they were doing and why they weren't doing other things and kind of like a great encapsulation of the tour. And so
Yeah, like a kind of just like a look inside their brains and how they react and respond to different things that happen and what that forces them to do and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it is good stuff.
yeah, almost if the idea of listening to us prattle on about the year in review, just go read that article or that interview. That'll probably be just as good a summary. Not to downplay what we're about to do here, but people got to wrap presents, drink eggnog, etc.
That's right. Exactly.
Hopefully, we're accompanying you while you do some of that. So let's just dive right into it. The year in review, 2018 edition.
2018.
Yeah. You say 2018, 2018. What's the?
Either way,
You're good. Okay.
whatever you're in charge. Whatever you want to call it.
So way back in January, if we can roll back the time machine, U2 announced their European tour dates, which there's much consternation and worrying, I guess. I remember about after the North American tour was launched and announced, and then when was the European tour dates going to be announced? And This was a year, I guess, of kind of like odd promotional stuff that U2 was doing, and kind of like you think they're going left, and all of a sudden they go right, kind of, and especially for U2 fans who are trying to plan international travel, as it were,
Yes.
it was kind of stressful, I'm sure. So that's one plus for those of you listening or watching out there who don't have the opportunity to travel to see U2 internationally. It was actually a really relaxed year because you weren't worried about whether you were going to be able to fly and when you needed to fly and etc. So, anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, anything January wise? Otherwise, they performed at the Grammys as well.
Yeah, they had that Grammys performance, which was out on the barge. I think was, if I remember correctly, was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And
Get
they
Out of
did a
Your Own
couple
Way,
different
right?
songs and all this sort of stuff. But I think only one of them aired during the Grammys. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, it was. I agree with what you said about the, kind of a different marketing and promotion kind of thing because they had. I mean, and we could talk about this at any point during the year, but I guess we could just address it now. Like they did like 8 zillion remixes of like every single that like they did all these different videos. They had multiple videos for different songs, and I think we kind of determined. I'm sure we talked about this on one of the previous podcasts that with chart success now being so based on how often things get streamed or played or listened to or whatever, it's sort of in the artist's best interest to put more content out there to get people consuming more and streaming more. And so I like other artists. Um, I think my son was telling me that some artist, released an album and like issued all 14 songs as singles, videos, and all this sort of, just to try and get people streaming everything to, influence the charts and all this sort of stuff. So
Right.
yeah, there was a lot of that. It was a really interesting marketing and promotion and lots of different videos and remixes and all that sort of stuff all year long. So
And you can kind of now looking back on it. I know Sarah Stone, I think, and other YouTube fans have messaged me about like why is there yet another like Love Is Bigger remix or whichever, like why won't they release a new song like Red Flag Day as a single or something like that? And I think I remember seeing an article go across at U2 about how wherever they were, was it like they had some chart success anyways in the dance remix charts of some sort, and because of some of that. And so you kind of see like, okay, they're trying to just they know the rock pop fans are there, and
yeah.
so now they want to get back into some of that
Yeah,
stuff. So.
yeah. It was. I think it was "Love Is Bigger." It went to at some point during the year. It hit like number one on the dance charts because they had like 40 or 50 different remixes, and it's not that. And the charts aren't based on like a single remix. It's based on how often all of the remixes together get played by DJs in the clubs and streamed and all this sort of stuff. So it's a bizarre time we're living in with how
Yeah.
they determine what success is. It's so different from what it was, 5-10 years ago.
Which is it's kind of like the Netflix of music now, where it's just like dump it all at once, let them.
Yep.
I mean, obviously we
Yeah.
had albums before that were you could get the whole album at once, but yeah, just
Yeah.
dump it on everybody, and then somehow YouTube in the Spotify, Apple Music algorithms will rise up, and more people will get it suggested to them, just like what we do when you release a Twitter tweet or Instagram post
Right.
or whatever, and you promote it,
Yeah.
and we're all competing for the same kind of attention spans of people, so. Anyways, not to digress into social media commentary and advertising. So jumping into March, let's say they won Best Tour at iHeart Music Awards, and then also released another American Soul
Another American Soul video. Yeah.
video. That was an interesting sort of video strategy too, which again goes back to maybe on YouTube where they're just like, let's throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks and helps us rise up to have more viewers on our channel, I guess. And
Which is good for fans. I mean, it's cool. It beats the alternative of not having stuff to watch and listen to, right? So
right, and that's where who was it? Mason in our chat Slack chat was saying the "Get Out of Your Own Way" they teased a shot of with Anton on the what was it
that's
Joshua
right.
Tree 30 during Joshua Tree 30 on the rooftop, that they never released that, but they did the like cartoony
Yeah, we still haven't seen
version.
that, have we? Though
Yeah.
they did "Get Out of Your Own Way." They did a video in Brazil, and that has not been seen yet, right?
Yeah, and they on their Instagram, that's what Mason had posted, is like coming soon. The video for "Get Out of Your Own Way," which shows Adam on the rooftop, like not a cartoon version of Adam, obviously, and that's just doesn't come. And I guess obviously the promotions people aren't necessarily the video people and aren't Bono and the band. So as we can read a little bit. We don't have like the Willie Williams of their marketing team, I guess would be a fun one to chat with, whoever that might be exactly, or team, to get their tour diary of, we spent X amount of time putting together this video, showed it to Bono. He was on his way to save Africa from AIDS and decided, no, we're not going to use it, and just didn't sign off on it. So
didn't like the way the sun was hitting him in that one shot.
And so now it's in the vault, I guess. So, yeah. So let's keep on moving. I guess. Feel free to interrupt. I know I tend to speed through these, but I know we end up spending.
Keep speeding along, because there'll be things that we need to slow down for when we get to the tour time for sure. So
April saw the Lights of Home Beck version hit Record Store Day release, which is fun, and Beck, of course, was on tour with him for a stop or two, right? Or am I mixing up tours?
Yeah, he did. He opened up. Yeah, that was 2017. Yeah. I remember seeing him at the end of 2017.
So. It all blurs.
It does all blur, doesn't it?
And
then the strangest, is this not the strangest news of the year?
Which next one? The aquarium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like just totally out of the blue. Oh, the aquarium in Salt Lake City has purchased one of the U2 360 claws, and you're like, huh? What?
Which I don't think that's seen the light of day yet, but.
No, well, I think they did, or they're planning to do a groundbreaking, put the shovels in the dirt and all this sort of stuff. But I remember after the 360 tour way back when, there was all this talk about how, we're going to sell the claws and blah, 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 blah. And we were trying to, research what it's going to cost and all. Not that we could afford it, but we just wanted to, tell that story of how you put this kind of stuff up for sale. And then here we are all these years later, and randomly an aquarium in Salt Lake City. Like, if you made a list of 10 places that are going to buy a claw, that would not be on your list.
No.
So yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool personally for me because Salt Lake City is just a quick flight over that way. So I think I'm not positive, but I think they're planning to have it built by like the end of 2019. Don't hold me to this, but I think that's the plan, that it's going to be installed and it's going to be part of a aquarium-related educational program and conservation program, and just sort of, just a whole different experience. So, and I love aquariums, so I'm kind of excited about that. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it becomes sort of like the, the Joshua Tree is a mecca, Joshua Tree National Park, and then also this aquarium all of a sudden, becomes this place where you can go to get a little bit of U2 history. Document01 in the chat asks, when can you get the remix version of the U2 podcast? That's coming in January, actually, as a 16 album remix version of the podcast. Across, we'll do an LP version and EP, and
then we'll get Beck to remix it too.
Yeah, exactly. The one other big thing in April was they released in advance of the tour, 10 days before the tour opened, is they released this AR app, augmented reality app, which was for iPhone and Android. Was it on Android as well? I can't remember.
Yes.
So
it may not have been on day one. That sometimes how they come, a little.
And much fanfare, obviously, especially amongst U2 fans checking out. It was like this, Bono pops up out of your CD cover on your phone, kind of singing along to Love Is All We Have Left.
Love Is All We Have Left, yeah.
Yeah, Document01 says they have the Android and used it in Vegas and LA. So, and then obviously in hindsight, that kind of like slowly disappeared from. It was used extensively. Obviously, you could use it, in North America, but then.
Did you do it? You went to what, Montreal?
Yeah, and I tried it, but we were also really up. I was like right up close to the catwalk or whatever. And I don't remember, we were kind of joking with people, because you could see random people who knew about it would pull out their phones to sort of point at the screen. Nothing's happening, put the phone away, try it again 5 minutes later. And it didn't seem to really, I don't know if they'd even disabled it at that point in the screen. I don't know. It seemed to be the same kind of visual, but maybe they'd taken out the AR triggering stuff or whatever in the screen just to say, like, we're not worrying about it anymore. But yeah, what was your experience?
Yeah, I did it. I was at Tulsa and both the Vegas shows, so early in the tour. Those were like 3 of the first 5 or 6 shows, I think. And I thought it was just kind of underwhelming. It was, it's what you just, there would be Bono was singing, but before that it was like this iceberg, and then water was falling, and it sort of melted away, and the water was on the floor. And I mean, it was it was like a cool factor the first time, but it was not something that you're like, oh, I'm at my next U2 show, I got to fire this up again. I
Yeah.
don't know that it really was that interesting. And I remember we were at one of the shows, I might have been Vegas, I don't remember, but we were standing, our group, staffers and friends, we were down on the floor, like near the red zone entrance or something like that. And one of the people from whatever company it is that built the app was like standing right in front of us and like testing, like holding up the devices in different directions and all the and testing. And I heard them. They were talking to a another person. I don't know who it was, but they were saying, "Yeah, we've got plans to add this and that and the other." And it just never, as far as I know, I don't think it ever changed over the course of the first leg. I think, as you were saying, it was just kind of
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing. So I think it sounded like they wanted it to do different things and expand it and all that sort of stuff, but it never kind of went anywhere. And then, as we know, they just dropped it entirely and changed the entire opening of the show for Europe. So
Yeah, and like Document says in the chat that it does, like the app still works if you point it at a screen, like if you watch a video on YouTube or you point at
yeah,
your album cover, it'll still do what it's supposed to do on there. But in terms of like the actual opening where it had like the waterfall and stuff like that, they kind of phased that out. It seemed like anyways, and yeah, it feels like one of those things where technology gets them some press in the in the lead up to a tour, but then they don't actually have they have heart for like anything that helps communicate the songs better, I feel like, but they don't really want to invest or put time into that side of it where it's like one-on-one kind of stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but or it's just like technology where it's like someone's cousin's uncle who or whatever who's like super big into AR and thinks U2 should do it and convinces somebody to spend 50 grand on an app and develop this thing, and then the band actually is like, that's kind of lame. We don't really want to do it or whatever.
yeah. And I mean, it might be the kind of thing that we, 10, 15 years ago, or from now, I mean, 10, 15 years in the future, we look back and say, they were ahead of their time. They tried it. It wasn't ready for prime time then, and but now here's how other artists and are using it, and it makes perfect sense then. So I mean, it could be something like that for all we know.
And that's where something like, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but like I watched the Coldplay's new concert documentary is on Amazon Prime right now, actually, and is out soon, I think, to buy or whatever. And other artists have done this as well, where they give the fans wristbands as they walk in, special wristbands that all change a certain color as as the show happens and things like that. And so it would have been neat to have like you've got fans with this app in their phone, and 90% of the fans are going to have a phone with them in some form to say, literally, like just ask them to pull it out and have it be like it all forms a word or or something
Right.
like some sort of picture happens amongst the fans or whatever. But
Do you
anyway,
do you remember? I mean, we talked about that, like one of the podcasts right before the tour started. Like, are they? I remember having a conversation, like at the beginning of the show, will they put something on the video screen instructing fans to download the app, and here's
yeah,
how you use it? They didn't do that. So
no, no. Anyway, like we said, missed. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I don't know. I
I do
wouldn't
too.
call it a failure, but it's just kind of like, especially the hype that they had leading up to it,
Yeah.
and time and money. I'm sure that was spent on. It's not cheap to develop an app and test it and all that stuff, and
Yep.
include it in a show and things like that. So, anyways, skipping on to May, the tour begins. Obviously, May 2nd, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right, Oklahoma. That sounds right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yep, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Of all places, and you were there.
Strangest place to open a tour, but okay. Not that there's anything wrong with Tulsa. It was
No.
a nice town. I quite enjoyed it actually, but
Yeah.
it's not where you would think. Yes, I was there. It was, are we gonna do the at the end of the before we wrap up? We're gonna do like favorite moment of the year because that's mine is going to be from that show. But yeah, it was a good time. It was an interesting show. It's like it was a typical U2 tour opener where they're still sort of getting the hang of things and working their way through it, and the show gets, you know, significantly better within a week or two when they've got their groove on.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's I mean it's always interesting to see the first show of a tour.
And Bono and Edge were on Ellen around that time as well, obviously promoting it, doing an interesting acoustic version of Vertigo, if I remember correctly, which is kind of a funny choice for.
Yes. I'm always amazed when they do acoustic Vertigo. It's not the first time they've done it. That's
No.
just it's such a heavy song, and it kind of blows my. I'm not a guitarist. You are. as a non-guitarist, I get blown away to see Edge do that song acoustically, and the fact that it actually sounds a little bit like Vertigo. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the easiest one. I mean, the riff is fairly easy, but like the in terms of some of the stuff Edge is doing, it feels like if he was hoping for like a quick, easy, like staring at the sun kind of acoustic song,
Right.
it's not that. But at Buzz1 Daddy said seeing U2 in consecutive years was. So we asked folks obviously on Twitter and elsewhere what their favorite moment of the year was. So we'll include some of those throughout the show. But at Buzz1 Daddy said seeing U2 in consecutive years, hanging in San Jose at the SAP with partner in crime Spud, taking in U2 EI tour, bumping into Uber U2 fan Trish. You've seen her in the IE tour video as the cool young lady who dances with Bono during mysterious ways. At Tim Jar, right, said somehow winding up just one row of people deep.
You got the name right.
It's the end of the year. I had to do it. From the E stage, closer than I've ever thought I'd get to be to the magic that this band makes. Hearing Gloria and Ocean live, of course, the real best was realizing that Acrobat was in fact just an unspectacular retread of Exit.
What?
Not my words, Tim Jar's words. And not something fans should have wasted so much time clamoring for the band to play live. Ducks to avoid projectiles being thrown his way. I feel like maybe this Tasula wrote this actually. No, but
Wow, Tim.
that was just some fighting words. But I mean, I guess I understand. Like fans have been clamoring for it. I feel like it more than lived up to the expectations. That's a big highlight of the year for me. Is I don't know if it's the highlight because you heard it so many times, obviously over the course of the year. But finally hearing that song live and having it for me personally, unlike Tim, live up and exceed expectations of how they would do it live. I guess briefly, what did you think? Obviously, you're disagreeing with Tim.
He called it an unspectacular retread of Exit, and not. Oh my gosh! No, I was very much into Sula's camp prior to the start of this tour that I didn't understand why the whole of U2 fandom wanted them to play this song, because it was just sort of a middling. I don't think it's a great song on the album. It was like a sort of a another mid-tempo song, and they have a million of them, and I just didn't think that it would translate well live. And then they played it, and it was fantastic. And so that should be the last time we quote Tim on this podcast. That's all I'm saying. I'm tossing that out as a sort of a resolution for 2019. No Tim comments.
We'll take that to the board, I guess, and see if what kind of if they get a seconder for that motion.
Wow.
Matthew Gruber said Bono making eye contact with me and slightly raising his eyebrows as if to say hi. You were singing and not looking through your phone. What's up? During Lights of Home in Nashville, which is kind of cool. So I think there's lots of fun, obviously, on the tour for fans. And like they said multiple times, this is kind of like a tour for the hardcore fans, is how Edge, referred to it at one point.
Yeah.
And so lots of obviously love and hate for some moments, I guess, in the tour.
Who was it? Was it Mason or somebody in our Slack? It was like towards the end of the European. It must have been at the end of the European tour. Somebody said, like, imagine a year ago if you had said, yeah, U2's going to be on tour next year and they're going to play Acrobat and Dirty Day, right?
Yeah.
Like you would have you would have been locked up for being crazy for saying that. But
yeah, I think it is important to remember how far outside the realm of possibility the idea that Acrobat would get played was up until this point. And obviously hearing it, being rehearsed initially, I think in Laval, Montreal, originally, and then kind of like, okay, maybe they actually will do it, and then actually them doing it, and then even still, until you actually hear it yourself or see it yourself live, I guess it was hard to believe that it was actually happening. So
Willie talks a little bit about Acrobat and McFisto's return in part 2 when we get that posted next week. So
nice, something to look forward to.
Preview
teaser. Excuse me. So Joshua True Tour won some Billboard awards. Sirius XM added a YouTube channel, and then big kind of cool moment for a lot of fans was that U2 played the Apollo Theater as part of their Sirius XM, I guess, a promotion or whatever.
Right.
It was all contest winners, right? And then obviously family and friends of the band and stuff. But that's how you got. It wasn't like tickets for sale, if I remember correctly. Or was
no, there was nothing for sale. But they did like there were like 5 or 6 different contests. There were like a couple of them were on Twitter, a couple of them were on Facebook. I think there was something on U2.com and like. Tasula and Kelly from our staff, or one or the other, or maybe both. They like one of them was like wear a U2 T-shirt and tweet about it, and they won. They got selected that way, and so yeah, it was really cool. I wasn't at the show, but everybody, and it it was different to some degree from the main tour set list and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, everybody that was there just said it was like a religious experience. So I mean, and you can picture, seeing you two play in a little theater like that. It's
Yeah.
be very very special.
Yeah, Bono, as you wrote, I guess, Bono, I was going to say someone wrote, but Matt McGee wrote, Bono called it a bucket list item, and when U2 played Harlem's legendary Apollo Theater for the first time, and so he crossed
Yeah.
off his list. So very cool. And yeah, bring out the horns and everything for the show. Lots of fun. U2 conference happened in Belfast, which I know I saw Sherry, I think, tweeting about, just saying like that's a highlight for her the last year too, is having that experience, and any sort of gathering of U2 fans, even if there is no concert experience to be had, is a great time, I think, to be had. And
Absolutely.
Kevin Shannon commented saying Acrobats as well was a highlight for him, specifically the Edge's solo in Acrobat, which I would just put a ditto stamp on as well. Another contest they did, Bono and Edge performed at the Cape Cod Beach House, which Sherry was able to take part in and watch, and which would be just a neat, again, acoustic set, and seeing them completely outside of their element.
Right, with like 100 or 200 other people on a lawn with the river right behind you, or the bay or whatever it was right behind you, and yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, it was like 6 or 7 songs, I think, and one of a kind.
And we'll have links to a lot of these things in the show notes. So if you're curious later, wanting to sort of find out where more about the story, if you didn't hear about it the first time, goodstuff.fm/ATU2/91 is the episode show notes, but also on your podcast player that you're maybe listening to this on, likely has some sort of screen that'll show you links to the things, so you should be able to click through, read it on the site as we're talking about them. Heading into July, the tour, U.S. tour anyways, ends in Uncasville, so Tulsa to Uncasville, I guess, is
I wish
a weird booking.
I miss Sherry being on. I love when Sherry says the word Uncasville.
Says it with a little more oomph.
She's got that northeast kind of thing going on. So
the Beck video came out of Love is Bigger, which is kind of neat, letting someone else like that sort of remix, or no, the video for Beck's remix of Love is Bigger, I guess is what I was trying to say, came out. And right around that time too, the Mephisto filter hit Facebook, so you could actually, I haven't checked lately, I did a month ago or so, and it was still,
is it still there?
A couple months ago it was there, but I haven't checked lately, so I don't know if it's still around, but you could apply the Mephisto filter to your Facebook.
It's probably the second strangest news item of the year. But that was cool. I loved playing with that. That was my wife did not like it in the least.
No, mine either. I feel like I don't even know if there was any promotion of that from U2 officially. Was there? I feel like they definitely came out without any promotion, and then afterwards in some form. Did they?
They did like a week after it was there. Because I think we were probably the first to post about it, and then it sort of spread among online fandom, and then I feel like it was like 5 days or a week later. I don't remember if they put it on U2.com or just on their Facebook and Twitter, but they did do some promotion of it. I don't remember how extensive it was.
Yeah. That's where, again, a lot of the tech stuff feels like it's like, I don't know who, I'm just going to make up somebody, but like Bono's cousin, who's like super into this stuff, convinces the band to try it, but then the band is like doesn't pay attention to it after they sign off on the check or the memo or whatever, and so it doesn't really reach any sort of critical mass, and you kind of just have to find it on your own. But anyways, August is when the European started in Berlin, August 31st, all the way back then. That's still back in 2018, if you can remember that far back. And the European tour starts, and then September is when Berlin showed PPD.
Postponed.
Oh, postponed. Sorry, yeah, it says Berlin. The words in our notes say Berlin showed PPD.
Oh, showed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So show. Postponed after 5 songs due to Bono losing his voice, which was I remember I posted that and I retweeted or whatever, and like had friends commenting and saying like, holy crap, that's like something like that obviously
scary.
registered beyond, a U2 fandom of like, and it obviously makes for a good headline, or not good, but like headline of, Bono loses his voice and might not.
It's
never
a
sing
juicy,
again.
yeah. If you're an editor at a news publication that's a juicy headline.
Yeah,
Bono
one
loses
you
his
want to
voice.
definitely
So,
get up
yeah.
there. So,
But no, that I mean, I remember. I wonder if it was the same for you. I remember, like, because you can follow along on Twitter, and so everybody's like, the show is stopping. Something's wrong with Bono's voice, and then like within the hour, somebody had posted video on Facebook or
yeah,
Twitter
YouTube.
video or whatever it was, and you're like watching it, and I was like legit scared. I was like, oh my gosh, that looks really serious to me because I remember like I'm zooming in, I'm getting right in on the video, getting up as close because I need I have glasses and all, so I got to get close. And I'm like, it looks like something in his neck snaps. I'm like going immediately to like worst case scenarios, like
Yeah.
muscles are torn in his throat. He's never going to be able to talk again. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here? And I guess that's just natural if you're a YouTube fan, but I remember being like legit scared. Like it was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, is this it?
Yeah.
And wow, thank God it wasn't. I mean, they didn't cancel. I mean, they did the next show, didn't they?
Yeah. Like it was just the one show that they missed. And so in the end, it felt like, okay, it was probably nothing, but yeah, like during that day or two after, whatever, it was kind
That
of,
was scary.
yeah. And that's where, again, reading various accounts, whether it's Willie's or I forget who else's sort of account. There's an article, I think, about that sort of time, looking back on it a little bit and just like how close they were to like, okay, is this the band themselves thinking like, is this it? Or is this just like and obviously with knowing what we know now as far as, some sort of health scare that Bono had to put even before the Joshua Tree 30 tour came out, and sort of relative to that, like obviously they had this experience once already of some form where it's like, is this happening, or are we done now? Is Bono dying, or is whatever happened with him? And so similarly, obviously, for as far as the band is, not that it's the same. His family is very much appreciative if he's alive, even if he doesn't have his voice. But as far as the band is concerned, if Bono can't speak, the band is done, right? And
Oh, for sure.
And so, yeah, just that terror of like, what do we do? There's the immediate, obviously, of like the tour and just the logistics of that, but then bigger picture.
Yeah, longer term stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next show, when they do get on stage, you're like, all right. That probably was like the most listened to stream, like all the Mixlers and everything. Like the whole world, all of U2 fandom is like tuning in, like, OMG, what is this going to sound like? Is he going to survive? Is he going to get through the first song? Well, it was like, wow, that was it was a crazy, crazy time. And yeah, as you mentioned, and Willie talked about in part one, and I think talks about some more in part two when we get that posted. That one night, that one event, him losing his voice, that just changed the entire plan and trajectory of the whole second leg. And all of the set list changes that they did, they spent the entire second leg kind of reworking, the whole first part of the show.
Yeah.
It was all just based on that one event, losing his voice and having to cancel that show, and this sort of chain of events that it triggered just led us down this path that no one expected to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that does, because like even reading it, I still don't totally connect why. Like the big thing seems to be that instead of ending the tour in Dublin, right, they were going to have to end in Berlin, and they were going to record now. Was that show going to originally be recorded in Berlin, and that's why?
I think. Well, I think it was. I think it was, and maybe this is in part two. I'm not positive, but it was. All of a sudden, well, now the last show is in Berlin, and oh, by the way, we also need to film a show. So why don't we just film Berlin? And if we're going to film Berlin, if we're going to film a show and it's going to be Berlin, we don't want a bunch of the same stuff from the 2015 tour being repeated on this video. So why don't we figure out a way to tell this same story, but without making it look like a copy of 2015? And so just sort of this. I think some of it too is what we talked about a few podcasts ago, where it was like all of a sudden, oh wait, yeah, we do need to film something here at some point. I think that kind of played into it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think we probably, I don't want to retread too much, but like, I don't want to end up offending Tim Jar if we retread episode 88 or whatever of the podcast too far. But yeah, it is kind of like they're just humans, and they're like, someone scheduling forgot to like put on the calendar, like record concert, by the way. It was like a check mark on the to-do list that just kept getting put off, and then, oh shoot, yeah, we actually have to do this. So, yeah. And then also in September there, Bono, keeping moving on here. Bono met Pope Francis, so maybe there was some good timing there for some extra blessings for the
his voice,
vocal
yes,
cord.
yeah,
Yeah.
vocal cords blessed. That was
And
good, yeah.
Rattle and Hum had its 30th anniversary. Obviously, it didn't get its own tour, but Edge and Adam appeared at the screening of that in Dublin. So a fun way for fans to experience that concert video, and for the rest of us in the world who aren't able to experience it because we still don't have a proper release of it in 2018.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Put a moment of silence here for anybody who works at U2 PR or just like, something. Just put it on Netflix, maybe even. I don't know. Just like some way to actually watch the thing without me having to go buy a PAL or Betamax or whatever player to play my copy that I picked up at the Dublin airport. Hashtag release it for Chris. I think that's what we need. All right, moving on. November, the tour ends in Berlin, as we mentioned and have discussed ad nauseum, I think. But very cool hearing, like a few of the fans here, I'm just going to mention that commented on us. Katarina Kobus said, Edge sang Dirty Day in rehearsal. John Duan said Lights of Home in Dublin 3.
These were their favorite moments?
Favorite moments, sorry, yeah. I'm just quoting some fans' responses. U2.se, so U2 Sweden. After missing out on a U2 tour version up here, our favorite moment of U2 2018 was from a Swedish point of view that was recently, right? Edge actually appearing in Sweden at the what was it?
The Nobel Prize
stuff, yeah, for a doctor or researcher in cancer research. So family ties in there.
And I'll quickly interject this. One of a fan, I think, in Norway, and I don't recall his name, and I probably couldn't pronounce it if I did, sent us a couple links that some of the media there, the newspapers in those countries, that region, were really like giving Edge crap about wearing his beanie through that Nobel ceremony. Like, no, you don't dress like that. It was That's like awesome. Some of the comments were pretty snarky. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I ran it through Google Translate and I'm like, oh man, wow, they are pissed.
Yeah. Got to dress for the occasion, I guess.
I guess so.
Even if you're Edge. A few other things. Bono did the Jimmy Kimmel Red Shop-a-thon again this year, which, again, you can watch the videos on ut.com. And then, of course, for Record Store Day, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, the version that played in the concerts, was also released on vinyl, which is very cool. The Gavin Friday, I want to say Regine from Arcade Fire.
Yeah, I think so. I think Regine. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so lots of fun stuff sort of rounded out the year. And then, of course, like we said, the tour ending in mid-November. And then, the band has still been very active as far as Bono, like I said, doing the Jimmy Kimmel Show and other stuff. They've still been in the news and haven't sort of gone away to be quiet as of yet. Anyways, I guess we'll see what happens after with the holidays and stuff, and then into the new year if they keep a low profile or if they're kind of like enjoying the limelight a little longer and hanging on to a little longer after the tour. A few other fan moments that were mentioned. Leslie McFarlane said Larry's drumming on the Blackout at Dublin 2 and checking into the Clarence, and getting a room where Beautiful Day was filmed for Top of the Pops. Very cool. John Sohol said first was Dirty Day in Dublin. Second was this version of Pride. Oh, on this tour, which they changed it up a bit. And Wild Horses in Tulsa. Duncan Aldridge said, my favorite moments were seeing fans meet the band and reading their stories. I'm hopeful we see the band in Australia soon, but I'm just happy they're making others happy and thankful for the music. I don't recall an album speaking the words of my heart more than songs of experience. Thanks, Duncan. That's beautiful. And Raymond Mass said getting Edge's autographed in Amsterdam. Gene said, being on the rail at Mohegan Sun after waiting at the box office 4 hours for GA tickets. Matt Lucian said, May 7th, finally, my first Acrobats. Juan Pedro Garcia said, seeing Madrid, or 20, where are we here? Sorry. September 18th, Madrid, the Edge in front of me playing until the end of the world. Kelly Crankshaw McLaughlin said, first time seeing Acrobat in years. Sorry, I copy and paste people's names off of Facebook and it just grabs whatever their name. I don't really mean to list all full names. And Hiding in the Berg on Twitter said, not too late to get this in. Landlady at Dublin 4, hearing my favorite Songs of Innocence Songs of Experience song, the one that breaks my heart every time, the best of his love songs, was the reason I decided kind of last minute to go to Ireland with only a hope of getting a ticket. So very cool. I think that's all the stuff that we that folks sent in anyways. I'm sure there's many more favorite fan moments, and even on staff here at U2, it's a busy time of year, and so trying to get folks to send in stuff or whatever was a little bit rushed for this episode anyways, but I know there's lots of fun moments. What about you, Matt? What was some of your fave highlights over the year?
My favorite moment of the year was in Tulsa. We have a friend, a staffer named Scott Peretta. Have you ever met Scott in person, Chris?
Yeah, we were at Joshua Tree. He was in
Okay,
Vancouver.
that's right. Okay, good.
Opener.
That's right. Yeah. And so Scott, who I've known for just forever, it seems, Scott has been very much in the why don't they play Acrobat camp? They have to play Acrobat camp. I hate when they don't play Acrobat camp, etc., etc. And Scott managed somehow, even though being part of our staff, managed the Herculean feat of avoiding tour spoilers before opening night in Tulsa. So he had no idea what they were going to play. He had no idea what they had rehearsed and all this sort of stuff. And of course, most of the rest of us did know. And so, like, I was so excited, just waiting for this moment to get there. And if they do follow through and actually play it, what is going to be his reaction? And so we get to, I'm like, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 feet away from Scott. He's like 3 or 4 people away from me in our group. And they get to that part of the show, and Bono starts doing his Mephisto speech, right? And none of us, I think, were quite prepared for what that was. But then all of a sudden, as Bono's doing his Mephisto speech on opening night, you hear Edge's guitar going doo doo doo, and you hear the little that Larry's doing on the drums, and Scott, oh my gosh, Scott just goes. If he had a headset on, he would have lost his
Matt literally
headset.
threw his headset by shaking his headset.
Yeah,
hard.
if he had a headset on, he would have lost his headset. But he starts going, "Is that Acrobat? Is that Acrobat?" And he starts letting out this, "OMG, F this and holy S and the whole 9 yards." And I have never in my life seen someone go so BS crazy over a song. And he's just like, the look on his face, that will forever be it's like one of my all-time greatest moments ever in running at U2 and being a U2 fan. Just the look on his face and his excitement. I have never seen someone that excited. I thought he was going to die. It was that moment was, there's not even a close second place for me.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, your turn. I'll put my headset on a little more tightly.
I don't know how, it's hard to top that one after, but I think definitely, like, for me, seeing the show in Montreal, and I don't know which one, but just the combined experience of seeing the show finally in Montreal, having missed as I complained about probably many times on the podcast, missed the IE tour completely, getting to see this tour that I heard so much about. I watched the concert video, and then seeing sort of the rework version as part of the EI tour was definitely, obviously, was the highlight. Had to be the highlight for me. And then secondary to that was some of the going to some of the European stops to hear Dirty Day, and seeing the kind of the reworked version of the intro even that they did in Europe and they settled on and stuff. And I know Caroline, friend of the show, has, I think, said on the podcast, but I know even in chatting with her, it's just like, she said it's the best tour opener ever of anything kind of thing. And so I guess a bittersweet kind of missing out on that, but it's still glad that they arrived at something that was even as good as the North American tour was. Just being happy for the creative side of U2, the Willie Williams and everybody else that's involved besides just the 4 guys on stage, arriving at a tour like that they, that they're wherever they are musically and everything else that's going on in their life, that they were really proud of, happy to be a part of, putting on like the best version of the show that they wanted to put out, and not being afraid to change it up to get there, right? Like, I think that's part of what is admirable, is they could have very easily stuck to the same show they did in Tulsa, making changes a little bit here and there, but more or less that show, that's what we're doing, that's the tour we're going, and even if the gut's telling them not to, they just stick to it. And they could have done that and made just the same amount of money, probably sold the same amount of tickets, and but creatively they knew they needed to change it, and I think that's just really cool as an artist at their stage of their career on the the back end as opposed to the start. I think that's just, for me, that's part of a this, I guess if that's a secondary or whatever highlight of seeing your favorite band in the world, kind of arrive at that and work through that, I guess, in public view, like they did, is impressive.
Right. I hope they, because the European tour, it was, it was, the first leg was very static, right? It was like one song would change from night to night. But the European tour, as you said, it sort of developed over time, and there were a lot of changes, especially once they got to the end of September when they started inserting. They dropped that first set of, the Iris and Cedarwood Road, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, for the rest of the tour, it changed like every few days. It seemed like there was something changed here, a adjustment there. And I hope, for the fans' sake, I'm not a set list complainer, but I hope for the fans' sake that they got a sense of how much the fans, especially the diehard online fans, love when they don't stick to what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, like a prescribed set list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when they mix things up a little more.
And I think it's even less. It's not so much just like, hey, I bought a ticket for night one, and why didn't you mix that for me on night two? Like, there certainly is a contingent of fans who are like that, are just like bitter that U2 didn't change it for them or whatever. But I feel like on the creative side, the bigger picture, I think, is more. I think what the sentiment I get, anyways, from a lot of fans is more just like, even if they're watching it on Mixler or listening, I guess, on Mixler, watching it on someone's live stream video or whatever, it's just like seeing the band explore new ground creatively, I think, is kind of what's the ultimate kind of fun with it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. Well, I don't know how long my timer started a while ago. I think it's been about 3 years that we've been recording this podcast today. So
I think we're close to an hour,
I'm just kidding,
either side of it. So
yeah, I think we did okay. But maybe you have a moment that we didn't even touch on briefly or at all in this episode, and we'd love to hear about it. If you want to tweet at U2, ATU2 on Twitter, leave a comment on Facebook, our Instagram.com/ATU2com. Any of those venues, feel free to chime in where we post or talk about this episode. Leave a comment, and I'm sure other fans will join in a fun, polite, nice, fun discussion without getting into too much of an argument over Acrobat, but Jim Jar is wrong. Beyond that, we want to thank you for listening to the podcast wherever you happen to be in the world. Obviously, having 91 episodes of a show talking about the band U2 isn't possible, really. In as much as we could just sit here and prattle on our own, even if nobody was listening. We do thank you for listening. We thank you for supporting the show, sharing it, reviewing it, liking it, etc., all that stuff, commenting, especially sending in thoughts for the show. We're not wrapping up the show. This is not the go away and dream it all up again speech for the podcast. But just with the end of the year, it's kind of nice just to say thanks and yeah.
And I'm sure we'll take a break, because who knows when. I mean, we're not going to do podcasts just for the sake of hearing our own voices. I mean, we'll do podcasts again.
That's never happened in podcasting.
No, but I mean, we'll be back. It's just a matter of we're not quite sure when the next one will be, but we'll certainly be back.
Yeah, and there's like I joked in our Slack. There's stories from this past year that people would love to tell. I know, and Tasula had a great run-in with the band that she needs to share in the podcast if you didn't see it, and other stories from this past year, and I'm sure there'll be stuff from the band that we need to discuss. And there's releases like the No Line on the Horizon LP coming out. Is it called an LP? It's a vinyl, right? What is it?
It's a vinyl.
LP is a long play.
Look, one thing we can be sure of is there will be many more remixes coming out.
Yes. And definitely watch your podcast player for a remix of this show. Oh, and the concerts, the U2 fan club. I know I saw Document 01 mention it. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but like the U2 fan club, if you're not aware, U2.com, you can sign up and you'll get in the new year sometime. I forget when it was, February, I feel like, or
I don't remember what they said on as far as timing.
But anyways, for the $50 for the fan club membership, you also get you'll get a copy, a double CD, I think, of the tour concert songs. That was the worst sentence. Right?
Well, and also coming, I got to post this, or somebody has to post this on the site. U2tour.de just, I think, yesterday or the day before was at some event where Anton Corbijn was speaking with some other creative folks,
right.
And they asked him about the Joshua Tree movie or whatever it is he's making, and he said that it's a concert film with some non-concert bits at the beginning and end, and that's in, I think he said it's in like the final stages or something like that, and it should be out in 2019. So I don't know whether or not the band is actually. I mean, there's lots of rumors about them touring. I hope they tour, especially Australia,
Yeah.
Asia, New Zealand, Japan, those areas that have been missed for many, many years. I would love for them to do that. I'm not convinced they're actually going to, but there will be U2 stuff going on for sure in the new year. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're on Twitch, where we're live streaming, we'll hopefully touch base with you again in the new year. Enjoy
Happy
the holidays,
everyone.
And we'll see you again in 2019. As I mentioned before, Goodstuff.fm/ATU2/91 is where you can find links that we discussed in this episode. And that's it. Adios. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I forgot. Wrong one. Wrong window. I never have it up. There.
There's the when my headset went flying, the little air. There's my hell yeah.
I was going to say, when you were talking that Scott story, I was like, there's another one I have here of somebody getting really excited about a song being played. But.
Oh, I will never forget the look on his face, and that was amazing. That was amazing.
Document 01, you had asked something, and I'm just going to check the chat here. I don't know if you're still there watching, so hopefully Australia. Thanks again. Oh, maybe not. I thought I missed a question. But, yeah, random stuff that, we didn't cover in as much detail, I guess. But, you had it on Android. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I thought maybe we missed a question that you had from the show. Yeah, and we'll try and, Facebook is definitely, obviously, like I said, we'll definitely try and post on there. And we understand that folks aren't always on Twitter, or folks who are on Twitter aren't always on Facebook, vice versa, and it's good to post on both. So
exactly.
So,
yeah, I think we went right about an hour, because in Slack it was 1:25 when Kenny was having his problems, and we said, well, we'll just do it as a
Kenny
two-person.
having his problems. Yeah, I've got an hour 18 on my recorder anyway, so it should be
cool.
Should be good.
All right, mister.
Right. I think my kids want to play Fortnite, so I got to get off the internet.
Go get them. Thank you for all your time and work on the podcast this year. I will be ready to post whenever this one gets edited. No rush, obviously.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
And sorry, you tend to post the show after you broadcast it, so I tend to just watch them already recorded. Actually, I'm curious, where do you watch it on YouTube, or how do you find out about the show being out? I'm curious if you're still there. Just doing a little market research.
Document 01 was awesome. Was like our co-host today.
Because you post on Facebook when there's a new episode, right? Like when it's
for sure.
edited, published, or whatever.
Yeah, once it's published, then it goes on the site, and then to the social channels.
I'll have to try. I can't remember if Transistor's little player. I bet Facebook doesn't allow it to be a embeddable player on Facebook.
I don't know. Now, speaking of which,
you got the podcast.
Document says
okay.
On iTunes. Now, so we have that widget on the new site over on the right. Will that update automatically?
Yeah, it should. Yeah, I can't remember which code I gave you, but if it was like the latest, because that's what we use on our own site, like on Good Stuff for the YouTube podcast. There's a little embeddable player at the top that's just like whatever the most recent episode is of each show is just there to play if you want, so you don't have to click through to more details about a show or whatever. So,
and I meant to mention too, when I was chatting with Braden and Jason in the app development channel, the both of the apps right now have, because of the stupid way we used to do our news, where there was one feed for the short news items, one feed for the originals, one feed for the blog,
Right.
all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so we've condensed that all down to one news feed. So now we have all this space for tabs, and I gave them the feed for the podcast
Oh yeah.
RSS feed.
Nice.
So I don't know what they can do with it. If nothing else, it will look like it looks on the site, where it's just a list of the
Yeah.
shows, and hopefully people can click to listen that way.
Yeah, I'll have to touch base with them just to see if they can. I don't know what they're doing there. If it's just a web view, because if they can do like an embed of the latest, like just like that same embeddable player right in the app,
Yeah, I don't know.
that would also maybe be an option.
Are
I
you
mean,
in that channel?
I think so. Yeah.
The mobile apps? Okay.
Yeah. It sounds like the worst way to listen to a podcast as far as I'm concerned. Like, no offense to our app, but like, just for like a podcast person would never, like, if you have 10 podcasts you subscribe to, you're not going to go just to this one app to listen to.
Right.
But for the casual folks,
Right,
who
exactly.
like there's lots of folks I know who listen just by going to the web page and click play, and then their browser's open for an hour listening to the show that way too. It would be similar, I'm sure, for the app. So
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Just another opportunity to introduce it to anybody that hasn't listened before. So.
Oh, he says, I do listen to the U2 news briefing on Alexa. Maybe you can let us know there's a new show there as well. See?
Oh my gosh.
Document. You can, I guess I was arguing the other way, right? I was saying that the news briefing should also be as a podcast episode, but I guess this is the other way around.
We haven't done. We haven't done an Alexa thing in forever. TBH forgot that existed.
It's almost like an AR app for you too. You can kind of see how it happens. We did a lot of promotion around this Alexa thing, and then we kind of just got bored, or not bored. I'm poking fun, but like.
Well, no, we didn't. I mean, TBH, we launched that right before the tour started, and in my head, my thinking was that after every show, we'll be able to say, oh, they did this differently on this show, and this differently on this show. But the shows, especially the first leg, were so the same. There was nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, U2 played Las Vegas last night, and it was the same as San Jose, which was the same as the other San Jose. I was just like, I thought my impression was that, all right, they're on tour. When they're active, there's always going to be a lot of new stuff to talk about, but the shows were all the same. So didn't really lend itself to daily or even, a couple times a week audio updates. So
Yeah.
I apologize, Document 01, and anyone else that listens and expects the Alexa stuff. It did not pan out the way we wanted, but we'll keep doing it. It's not tough to do. So
You should just post Matt's commentary on U2 that day, like, still haven't listened to U2. I'm enjoying Gangs of Youth much more right now, and I wish U2 would do something like this. Just like bitter Matt.
I was DMing with Kelly Eddington yesterday and the day before, and she used the phrase residual grumpiness. I said, yes, I have a case of that. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
Too funny.
Yeah, we could do it like it could have been like a weather forecast. You're right, Document. Like tomorrow, we're sure they're going to play Gloria.
50% chance of all because of you.
If we had time and if we had money, and well, time equals money or whatever sometimes, but yeah, it'd be fun that's where like a Zoo TV-esque news briefing like that, or Alexa skill thing or whatever it's called, would be awesome. Like, just like if you could have BP Fallon from Zoo TV era, shouting stuff at you while on tour from wherever they happen to be.
The guy on it's like the Zoo TV
Oh, yeah.
interference. The guy that just
Yeah, the
spits out
newscaster.
random phrases. The
Yeah.
newscaster with the random phrases. Oh, we got to do one of those.
Yeah.
In 2021, if they do the Octung Baby anniversary tour, that is so what we're doing.
Yeah.
We got to dive all in on that and just totally go along with it.
Yeah. Well, there's so many Actung babies in the U2 staff that we'll all have excitement.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Document 01, and anybody else who happens to be. If you're there, I'll do this little plug again before everybody leaves. If you do Amazon Prime and you connect your Twitch accounts together somehow, it's just terrible for me to just say that, but you can actually gift Good Stuff, the network behind producing the podcast and stuff. You can gift us your Prime, which doesn't cost you anything, gives us a couple bucks a month by clicking the little heart above the stream here on Twitch, and also, of course, follow us and subscribe there. And
Okay, I have Amazon Prime, so I can do that. I'll figure out how easy that is.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know how easy it is.
Well, I know how easy it used to. I don't. They may have changed the UI a little bit since I recorded a video on it and stuff and walking people through it. But yeah, I think you just click the little heart, and then the hard part is if you haven't never connected Prime to Twitch, which most people have no reason to do, right? Like there's no. But what's actually cool is if you're a gamer at all, the Twitch folks, by doing that you can get free games that are playable through the Twitch, like legit games, not just dumb little games. They give out free games each month and stuff on that you can install on. It's all Windows games though, unfortunately. So anyway.
Do I? Okay, so I have a Twitch account. I know that, and I obviously have Prime. Do I connect them on Amazon or Twitch?
It's on Amazon Prime Twitch. Here, I'll get to the link right now, just because I should set up a command.
See if I can log in. Twitch.tv. Log in.
Where's my chat window? Yeah, twitch.tv/prime will kind of get you started if you...
Okay. But I have to be logged in, obviously.
Yeah, to both your Amazon and...
Doesn't remember my login. Why don't you remember my login? Probably because I haven't logged in forever.
The other cool thing is for when you're, as long as you're logged into your Amazon account, or sorry, to your Twitch account, and you have Prime connected, then you don't see ads on Twitch. If that makes sense.
Wait, say again?
If you connect your Twitch or your Prime account to your Twitch account,
okay,
then whenever you're on Twitch watching, say, the U2 podcast or any other streamer for that matter, you don't see ads before you're starting the show.
Okay.
So apparently there's...
Oh, okay. Oh, look, I just logged in. Well, now somebody is chatting, and now I hear him chatting. He's killing people in some video game, and I'm hearing him talk.
Welcome to Twitch.
But yeah, no, there's an ad right at the top. Twitch Prime. Oh, that's an ad for Twitch Prime. Is it the same as... It links to twitch.amazon.com/prime. All right, what was the URL you just gave me?
It is... Here, let me just... How to connect your Twitch. This is funny. Account. No, your Prime account to Twitch. I don't know if that one I sent is the best one. There's... Yeah. Connect your Amazon account. To begin, sign up for Twitch Prime or just connect your Amazon. Disconnect your Amazon account.
Oh. That might be the problem. Okay, that. Okay, so now I'm logged in to Amazon too. It knows... Okay, so it's asking me to try Twitch Prime. Is that what I want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't pay anything for it if you haven't. Like if you've, as long as you have Prime, you wouldn't have to pay anything for it. You pick your country, log into your Twitch account, or log into your Amazon account. Sorry.
It's telling me that it wants me to pay. It's telling me... Oh, wait, now I just clicked above without the pay options. Link Twitch account. Confirm.
Yeah, you pick your country, and then you click continue on your country flag again.
Right,
log into your Amazon account, and then...
And...
then I don't know what else happens after that.
There we go. You have leveled up with Twitch Prime. Feels nice, right? It sure does. You now have the Twitch Prime badge. The badge of royalty appears next to my name in chat.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, if you go chat, you will see, like, here, I'll log into my personal Twitch.
It's giving me free loot.
So for all that, Overwatch that you play and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you get free in-game stuff. Oops, not Overwatch.
Wait, it just landed me on a page where some dude's going to be shouting as he kills more people, so hold on a second. Get off that. Okay, so now I'm logged in and connected. So now I go to Twitch TV good stuff, right?
Yeah, document Twitch Prime. Oh, there you go. You got the little crown, so that means you're good to go.
Do you see me?
Oh, sorry, I was talking to document one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm just assuming it's all about me right now. Never mind me. Okay. Oh, and there's the green heart?
Green heart. I don't know.
Oh no, that's
Oh, at the top, yeah.
notifications.
That's so. Next to that, you can say gift a sub. Do you see that?
No.
Oh, or sub. Like there's the heart above, like my head.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. There's a subscribe button.
Subscribe, and then
Okay, subscribe.
and then
Free subscription with Twitch Prime.
so that yeah, click that.
Okay, and then down below I see gift a subscription. Is that what I
Yeah.
click? Wait, 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 wait. Now it just traded. It just changed. Oh, Chris, this is so confusing. I'm sorry. Okay, now it says gift a sub. The big green box says gift a sub, and I click that, and it says new. You can now give gifts a not. No, I don't want to. I don't care if it's a non.
So down below that, your Prime subscription, does it say good stuff?
Yep, yep.
Benefits expire on
January 16th.
Yeah, so then you've done it. So it says subscribed. So that's you get one free sub, they call it subscription to a channel. I don't know. It doesn't really do anything. Like I mean, if we had like a certain amount of people, we could give like custom emoji in the chat and things like that. So then only people who are subscribed would get that. Yeah, so it tells me Matt McGee just subscribed with Twitch Prime. So that's what you. So now that you've got it all connected.
So I'm done?
That's it, yeah.
Now
that you've got it all connected, then next month you would come back on the 16th and click that subscribe again to keep that thing active. But
okay.
But you don't have to like connect your Prime account again and all that stuff. So
look, there's my testing 1 2 3.
Yeah, so you've
this
got
technology is amazing.
You're a subscriber and you got Twitch Prime. That's why you have the
and that helps good stuff?
Yeah, I think you just paid us $1 somehow.
Woo!
So basically, I can quit my day job. So
yes,
thanks.
It's $1 more than the U2 staff gets.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear, there's going to be a revolt now. Everyone wants their own Twitch account or their own channel.
Yes,
to get $1.
We're going to be just gifting each other dollars here and there.
Yeah, somehow it feels like when I subscribe, I'm giving myself $1, but it's got through Amazon Prime basically, that instead of just going into Amazon's pockets, I think.
All right. Well, I'll next time I see you tweet about this, I'll make a note to log in and check to see if I need to redo it. So
yeah, I know it's kind of silly. Like
they should just let you do it for like a year.
Yeah, like let you say like, just do it. Yeah, for 6 months, just do it.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
thanks Document One for watching. If you're still out there, and 8 other people, and we're gonna turn off the stream now. So go get some fresh air, do whatever you need to do. Until next time, adios.